Hi, it's Mark Bossert here, producer of the Pawlik Automotive podcast. We're here this morning with Mr. Bernard Otto Pawlik, the big bopper himself here in Vancouver, and we're talking cars. How you doing, Bernie?
Doing very well.
So we're talking about a Toyota Solara. It's a kind of a unique vehicle, 2006, that had a timing belt problem. What was going on with this vehicle?
So this vehicle came in for a B maintenance service, which is for us, it's basically an oil change service with a full vehicle inspection. And out of doing the maintenance inspection, we determined the timing belt needed to be replaced.
So if we're talking about timing belt replacement, I assume you got a lot of other stuff that you have to change.
Well, there are other items to replace at the same time as the timing belt. Generally, when we do a timing belt, we'll do the water pump, the front engine oil seals, the timing belt tensioner, any pulleys that are anything really affected by the timing belt or anything that can directly affect the timing belt's lifespan. We do all at the same time. And
did you find that it was worn out, or was it just a scheduled change?
Well, we basically replaced it on the mileage of the vehicle and the fact that we couldn't see any evidence that the belt had been replaced. Now, you might want to ask, can you not look at the belt? And the answer is not without a lot of difficulty. I learned a long time ago at a customer with a Subaru many years ago where it was getting near the mileage of the timing belt. I looked at the timing belt, popped the cover open. It wasn't too hard on that car. Looked at it, go, yeah, it looks fine. A month later, the car got towed in with a broken timing belt. So I've kind of learned, no, you just never judge them. Now, that being an older Subaru, those belts they break a lot easier. These ones are a lot more robust, but you really can't tell the condition of the timing belt unless you actually take it off. There are a few telltale signs. We'll look at some pictures in a few minutes of the age of a belt once you take it apart. Things have changed a lot with timing belts. They used to be, if you got 100,000 kilometers of a timing belt, you're really lucky. That Subaru I was mentioning, those things would often break at 50,000 kilometers. They were kind of a bit of some bad engineering there, but 50 to 100,000 kilometers was kind of a normal interval for a timing belt. Now they're up in the 150 to 200 range, and often will go a lot longer than that, just due to redesign of the belt and how they're built. So we can get into some pictures here. So there's our Solara. It's these come in convertible and non-convertible, but this is the convertible model. Real nice vehicle, very similar to a Camry in design and operation. Same engine and same drivetrain. Here's the timing belt and a couple of the components we replaced. So there's the water pump, there's the timing belt tensioner, pulley, and of course the belt itself, which is a fairly long belt, a V6 engine. And for our final photo, this is a close-up of the belt. So the actual teeth on the belt are on the back side, but you can see on this side there's all the lettering. When these belts are new, they all have like writing on them, either from Toyota or whatever aftermarket manufacturer has the brand name, the belt number, some other information. And the fact that there was actually none visible on this just tells us the belt's old. I mean, the rubber was fairly old, but was it about to break? Not really, but you don't want to take a chance with that kind of thing. So that's our picture show.
Okay. I've lost my screen here. So what's our next question?
Our next question. Excellent. So we talked about visual inspections. What are we at? Timing belt interval, generally in the 150 to 200,000 kilometer range. Closer to 150 is really is where you want to do them. And depending on the age of the vehicle as well, that has a bit of a factor in it. This vehicle is 06. That makes it about a 12-year-old vehicle. And seeing no evidence that the belt had been replaced, it's a good time to do it. A 12-year-old belt is getting pretty old. I guess the question too of all the other items we do with the water pump, the tensioner, the seals. I mean, is that necessary to do it? And people are often conscious of the cost. To do everything complete is a fair amount of money. You can just change the belt. However, if the water pump fails, and it very well likely will pretty soon, or any of the tensioner pulleys or the tensioner itself, which is a hydraulic unit, gives way, the whole job is basically a waste. You have to take it all apart again and do it. So what we do is do the whole job complete, get it all done, and then you don't have to worry about it for another 10 years, which I think is the best way to do it. Better to spend the money now and do it fully than And I've seen so many times when people have, taken it somewhere else and gone, oh, I had the belt replaced, but I didn't want to do the water pump. A year later, they're in for the water pump, and hey, I should have done it right the first time. So that's the best thing to do.
Yeah. So is that a case of everything in that kind of, if we're talking about the front end of the engine or whatever, and all those pieces that are run off of or have something to do with the timing belt, they all wear at the same place at the same rate, in effect. And so the belt is worn a little bit and stretched out tight a little bit, and it puts maybe a little varying amount of pressure on the water pump or whatever the reality is of it, that they've gotten used to the state of wear that they're all in. When you put the new piece in, it actually puts more pressure and wears out the water pump or the tensioner faster.
Well, it does probably put a little more pressure, but like all modern timing belts are all self-tensioned, so they theoretically have the same tension all the way through. But it's more of an age issue. I mean, a bearing will only turn for so many times before it eventually fails. Now, some might go for 100,000 kilometers, some might go for 500, but you don't really know when that's going to happen. And what we do know is when it does fail, you're going to have to take everything apart and do the timing belt again. And most of the time when we do the timing belt, you spin the bearing, you can hear it's dry, the lubrication, it spins very freely. Like you can tell the lubrication's drying up and it's not as good as it could be. Same with water pumps. I mean, they will leak eventually, or the bearings will wear out as well. So it's just better to replace it, because that it's only going to be a matter of time before it goes. You might get lucky, it might last 10 more years, but that would be like a statistical anomaly as opposed to being, what
would normally happen.
Yeah, what would normally happen, exactly.
So, yeah. And timing belt replacement around 150,000 kilometers, is that true across all makes and models of cars?
Pretty much. And I say 150, that might be a little sooner than some recommend. A lot of them are like around 168, which is, I think, 110,000 miles. But yeah, usually somewhere around the 150 to 200 range is where most of them are recommended. I mean, the 200 is pretty high. I think there's a couple of Ford products I've seen that have it recommended at that mileage. But yeah, if you're thinking 150 to 180 range, that's definitely a time you're going to need to do the timing belt. But check the manufacturer's schedule. That's one thing that's really important to look at and follow that one.
So when a timing belt replacement this is a pretty major job from all the parts that are being replaced.
It is. Yeah. I'd say it's a major maintenance service. And certainly, when you look at two engines in a car, you think, okay, I need a timing belt replacement on this one, and say another engine has a timing chain, it doesn't need it. I mean, there's a if you do it properly, I mean, a sort of average timing belt job can be $1,500 to do it with the water pump, the tensioners, the pulleys, all those kind of things. It can be a bit less, it can be a bit more depending on the car. That's a fair amount of money to put out in a maintenance service. You think, well, great, I'd rather have a timing chain engine, but timing chains do fail. And when they do, the cost is a lot higher. So, I mean, with the timing chain, you never know. It may last forever and it may fail. And, you never really know. But the key with timing chain engines is you got to make sure you follow your oil change intervals, because you've got that many more moving parts that are affected by, that where good, clean oil makes a big difference.
So what happens if the timing belt breaks?
Good question. So if the timing belt breaks, your engine will stop right then and there, and it won't start again. That's if you have a non-interference fit. Well, that's with any engine. But the other thing is if you have an interference fit engine, which is an engine that's built in such a way that the piston and valves can collide if the timing belt breaks, then you'll have catastrophic engine damage. The valves get bent, and it becomes extremely expensive to repair. This particular Toyota engine, by the way, I was looking for some information as an interference fit or not. I got conflicting information. There's a number of different, if you look on the internet, there's a number of different sites that have lists of engines that tell you, are these interference or not? And one website I looked at says yes, the other one says no, and then another one said conflicting information, treat it as an interference engine. So really the best thing to do is treat any car as an interference engine, because it's inconvenient when it breaks anyways. But if it does break and causes valve damage, it's just horrendously expensive.
And is this a V6 that Toyota used across a different a range of models of vehicles?
Oh yeah, they've used it in. You'll find it in Lexus vehicles. You'll find it in Camrys, Avalons, Lexus, a variety of Lexus products. Pretty common engine. Excellent engine. Very reliable.
And how are Toyota Solaras for reliability?
Yeah, it's a Toyota. They're awesome. Yeah. Really, nothing I can say is bad about them. They're really good. I mean, the timing belt is sort of one of the major maintenance items you're gonna deal with on this engine. That's pretty much it.
So there you go. If you're looking for service for your Toyota product, since we pump Toyota's tires so hard here, usually we like their products. They're reliable vehicles. The guys to see in Vancouver are Pawlik Automotive. We appreciate you folks watching from all over the world. But please, if you're calling for service and you're in Vancouver, we'd love to hear from you. If you're calling for us to diagnose your car issues over the phone, we can't do it. We just can't. So give us a call if you want to book an appointment at 604-327-7112. You have to call to book ahead because we're busy, or check out our website, pawlikautomotive.com. We're on YouTube, Pawlik Auto Repair, hundreds of videos on there, as well as, of course, we're really appreciating you watching our podcast. And thanks a lot, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark, and thanks for watching.